The First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
I still hear their programming.
We'll do it solo.
We're doing it solo? Hey there, friends. I'm meteorologist Robert Spetta here with you. And today, what's today? The 23rd of November, 2025. As always on the weekends here, we like to talk to you about what's going on in the weather, of course, across the country and across Florida here. Look at that beautiful, beautiful weather in downtown Jacksonville. We often jumped in with Tampa Bay, but today just having some little connection issues with our friends out there on the other side of the state. So we're going to stay here and talk about what's happening in Jacksonville and all across our area over there towards Tampa, down towards Miami and the southeast. Because you know what? We got some travel weather concerns to get to as well. Because guess what? Thanksgiving is what? Just a few days away. 4 days. 32 days until Christmas. 39 days. Pardon me, my goodness. Until New Year's. So yeah. Hey, by the way, I'm going to talk to our director behind the scenes real quick. Are we streaming on any of our social media platforms right now?
Right now we're on YouTube and our FCN Plus Live.
He says we're on YouTube. So I'll check out YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, maybe you can comment and I can take some questions about the forecast here or anything like that. Keep you guys updated and kind of posting what's happening here. So anyways, back to the national picture. Let's play my favorite game. Why do we love living in the state of Florida? And here's a good reason. 78 in Jacksonville, down to 80 in Miami. Wow. Oh my goodness. And then we take a look across the rest of the country into the 30s, back towards the north. Burlington at 35, International Falls at 31, 37 in Bismarck. Wow, my goodness. And this is why my favorite game. We love to live here in the state of Florida. It's absolutely beautiful. Meanwhile, take a look at our time lapse here across our area. It absolutely beautiful. Sunshine. We had a few clouds this morning. It's looking just great. Take a look over towards the Jax Beach time lapse. You got plenty of people out there watching the sunrise. Actually, let's loop this back because it's kind of neat. You see that glow? That was that fog kind of reflecting off of the sunlight this morning, making that little orangish, reddish glow off towards the west. Kind of muted some colors there. It's absolutely gorgeous start to the day, and then the clouds tapered off, and look at that. People are out there. It's a little bit of a northerly breeze, and we do have this little bit of just a tiniest weak front moving on through, and it's hard to spot. It's actually right about in there. South of that front, you know, a little bit of some southerly winds behind it, northerly winds, which we're seeing out there today, kind of cooling off our temperatures but that's really relative in the grand scheme of things. And what I mean by that is, we're going to be up to 81 to 82 degrees here in Jacksonville on our Sunday. But this is following days of above average warmth. Check out these record highs we got. Well, Thursday technically wasn't a record at the airport in Jacksonville. We got up to 85, the record being 86. But other areas did. I believe in Gainesville we broke a record, parts of southeastern areas of Georgia. Friday we tied the record in Jacksonville. And Saturday we got up to 85 with the record being 84. So yeah, we did break it there. We're not quite there on Sunday, but pretty darn close. I'll tell you that. It's absolutely beautiful, though. Let's take a look at the forecast, though. And today, it's not just record warmth, it's dry. This high-pressure ridge staying in place here. With those temperatures into the 80s, we cool off into 60 tonight, but absolutely no rain, which brings me to the other big topic today on the First Coast. And that is the dry spell. We are getting 26 straight days without a drop of rain. Today, we haven't seen rain. It's going to be 27 here on our Sunday. The driest ever between October 28th and November 22nd. Last rainfall you have to go all the way back to October 27th. Wow, that's in Jacksonville specifically. And there's just this massive deficit, especially from Duval County to Clay County, St. John's over towards Putnam County. And all of southeast Georgia, for that matter. In fact, due to the lack of heavy precipitation locally and across the southeast during tropical season, we didn't get any landfalling storm systems. We're seeing just a significant deficit, and this has resulted in a pretty serious drought across our area. I mean, take a look at this, extreme to exceptional if out towards Tallahassee. I've been talking to some people in Tallahassee. They're saying, a lot of flowers are wilting, the leaves are kind of shriveled up a little bit. It's just that look when you forget to water your plants for a couple weeks, how they start to look a little, that's what we got out there. It's absolutely dry. And this is the case even, and I wouldn't be surprised at all, is that this shifts over towards the east in the parts of like St. Johns County, Putnam County, over towards Flagler even, just because of that drier air continuing to remain in place. So we need the rain, but we're not seeing much of it. In fact, Sunday's high is 82 degrees with this dry cool front, a nice little northerly breeze in play, but yeah, Nights of Lights is going on here on our Sunday evening at St. Augustine, the ancient city, the oldest city in the United States. We all love St. Augustine. I've been seeing kind of a game people have been playing. It's a trend. It's a local trend on TikTok. There's a lot of live cameras in St. Augustine. People are just dancing in front of them and just having a grand old time. Sometimes we use those on air here at First Coast News. So if you see one of those cameras, especially on George Street, you never know. He might end up on TV here at First Coast News. Anyways, the lights are absolutely beautiful. We love them here. And yeah, just beautiful weather. After that front today, though, it's going to stay dry through Monday and Tuesday. The next front doesn't arrive across the state until about mid to late week. And watch this. Temperatures cool even over towards Tampa, Orlando, highs into the 70s versus the 80s. But look at Pensacola and Tallahassee, 40s here by Thursday. Whew! That's the dividing line of this next front. Now I'm going to talk more about that front and how it's going to change our extended forecast, and then a little bit of travel weather and a little tropical weather as well. Coming up in just a minute. Let's take a minute-long break. Let's go for a little break. Can we take a break here? All right, let's take a break. We'll be back in a minute, so don't go anywhere because we got more weather information. Hey there, friends. All right. Thanks for standing by. Just, easy Sunday morning here on the First Coast and across the state of Florida. And, we're talking about the weather forecast. Let's go back to our graphics here and let's talk about the outlook for the week to come. Because we got this high pressure. We just mentioned these record-breaking highs we've been getting here. And basically, what we have going on is this high pressure ridge that's moving towards our north. We got that front moving down towards our south. But watch on the back side of it. See the next front that's developing. Now, this is going to be some messy travel weather. I'll be honest with you. If you are flying to Atlanta, Memphis, over there across the deep south on Tuesday, as you can see here, extending out towards Wednesday into Thursday, that front's going to kick on by and cause some travel disruptions for sure. See that kicking on through, and yeah, there might be some delays. Some of the busiest travel days of the year. So I can't stress enough, if you are out here, if you're traveling north or even west on I-10, you're probably going to be driving through some rainfall. But there's probably going to be some delays out there at the airports. Not to mention, some cooler air spilling behind this. Is let's say you're going towards the parts of the Midwest across the Great Lakes states there. Look at that. That is some solid lake effect snow setting up on Thanksgiving. Yeah, Western New York, parts of Michigan, Ontario, like places like Detroit, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Erie, all are going to be looking at a little bit of snowfall likely here on Thanksgiving, and then heading even over towards Friday, that cooler air continues to spill in. Now, are we going to get super frigid? No, we're not going to get that cold here on the First Coast, but we are going to cool down relatively. For example, our Thanksgiving forecast, it's 72 degrees with a cool northerly breeze. There's a chance of rain, but it'll be early in the morning, probably even prior to sunrise. So maybe if you're going out for any of those turkey trot runs, yeah, you could run into a little bit of it, but I'm not too worried. Weather's going to be looking pretty decent for most of the day. Northerly wind at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Sunsets at 5:25 p.m. And then we get bounced over. How about take out the boat parade? The boat parade. There's me on the boat right there at Santa. The boat parade in downtown Jacksonville. It starts at 6:30 p.m. on Saturday right there downtown. Weather's looking absolutely fantastic for that. It's good ugly sweater weather, as I like to say. Temperatures be into the 50s. High tide at 4:04, so if you are taking the boat out there, and low tide's at 10:58. But overall, the weather's looking great for that. It'll just be a little bit breezy, a little bit cooler. Nothing too much to worry about. Take a look at that extended forecast, though, into the 80s. 71 there on Thursday, and then we get that cool down. That's what we're talking about in the extended forecast. That 45 by Friday morning over towards Saturday morning. So yeah, temperatures will be dropping off. By the way, before I let you go, though, I want to do one quick little tidbit here. Check this out. Highest wind gusts in a tropical system ever reported by a dropsonde was taken during Hurricane Melissa. This was confirmed this past week by the National Science Foundation. Beat out a typhoon from 2010, Meggy, off the coast of the Philippines there. Not the strongest wind gust ever, by the way. That goes to Cyclone Olivia off of the northern coast of Australia in 1996, but still just shows the raw power of Melissa, which Jamaica's still recovering. And you know what? This time next week, we will be celebrating the end of hurricane season. Take a look at this. This is my favorite event of the year. That is in Key West, the Conch Republic. They actually get members of the Coast Guard to come out and they burn a hurricane flag soaked in rum. That is the most Florida that Florida can Florida right there. I love it. Anyways, it looks like a good time, and we're celebrating the end of hurricane season out here. But we're always doing our best to forecast and new ways to forecast and how we do it. So I want to talk about AI weather models and how they are changing, because we use AI for everything now. Let's be frank. If you're watching this on FCN Plus, you probably have some sort of AI associated with your computer or on your phone or anything like that. So I talked to a director at the World Meteorological Organization, not from Jacksonville, all the way from Geneva, Switzerland. That's where the WMO is based. These are some of the people advancing the world of meteorology and the newest technologies and just how us meteorologists communicate to people. And he had a lot of very interesting things to say about the future of weather and meteorology. So here on our Sunday morning, I'm going to leave you with this, with our conversation with Nir Stav out of Geneva, Switzerland, on the future of weather modeling and AI. Bye. Well, I am here with Nir Stav from the World Meteorological Organization. Sir, thank you very much for taking time to talk with me here today about the future of weather forecasting and how it's kind of changing in with AI models becoming much more prevalent today. First off, sir, do you mind introducing yourself and where you are joining me from here?
Yeah. So I'm sitting in WMO, which is the World Meteorological Organization. The headquarters sit in Geneva. And we are the organization that helps coordinate the work of meteorologists all around the world, be it in modeling, the talk we have today, or in measurements and satellites, and all those things. But we are only the secretariat sitting here in Geneva. Actually, WMO is a network of the meteorological services around the world. So wherever you are, you have the National Meteorological Service. It is a part of the WMO community.
And it really is. I do have to give a shout out to the WMO because it's one of those just like global organizations that everybody partakes in. And it's absolutely incredible what you guys do. So you are the people I want to talk to about the changing and the future of meteorology and specifically related to AI. So I'm going to put the first question, the basic question out there. So when we talk about AI weather models, a lot of people they see AI and they imagine Chat GPT or something like that. But what is an AI weather model and how does it differ from your classic numerical models like the GFS or the ECMWF or anything like that?
So actually, there are various types of AI models, and some of them may look like the Chat GPT thing. At the end, you might work like that. So at the end, you might have some Chat GPT that you will ask, should I take the umbrella now that I'm going to walk with the dog or not? And you'll get an answer. But we are not there yet. So the current models are trying to do something very similar to the regular models, and that is to simulate what will happen in the atmosphere. So we have what we call the grid. That is, you take all the data and spread it in equal distances around the globe and various levels. And you have temperature and humidity and wind and clouds and all those atmospheric components. And then the weather models simulate it, say, okay, if this is the situation now, what will happen in the next step, and then next step, etc. And then you try to go to the next days and maybe even next weeks, right? So that's, and up to now, all this modeling or simulation of the atmosphere was done by using equations, the equations of physics, Newton laws or whatever, fluid dynamics, all those thermodynamics, all of them are there inside, and they are crunching those numbers and producing the forecast. What AI does is that AI doesn't know physics. So it's a different approach, and that's you may call it more a statistical approach, because what AI is trying to figure out the statistical relations actually between what's happening now and what happens after a while and what happens next. So the methodology is to try to get in as much as data as possible about the history. This is called the training period of an AI model. You feed it with, this is what happened, and then this is what happened 6 hours later, and this is what happened 6 hours later, and then the next day, this is what happened, and that is what happened 6 hours later, etc. And in that way, the system learns from those things, and it's intelligence in a way that is very similar to the way our brain works. Because when we try to understand the world, we don't do it with equations, right? We have, a network inside our brain that is doing exactly the same type of mathematical calculation, and is learning from experience, right? So that's what the AI models are doing. But actually, when you learn from experience, you learn physics. Not explicitly, but implicitly. For instance, everybody knows that if I take a ball and leave it, it will fall to the ground, right? We know it from experience, and not from. Then, of course, if we are a student in university, we know to calculate how fast it will move, etc. But the AI methodology is similar to that, and it is already producing very accurate forecasts.
And I guess that is my follow-up. Well, two follow-ups there. So it learns. So if it gets something wrong, does it learn like, okay, next time I should do it this way? So, for example, if you have a storm going in one direction, but it actually goes in a different direction, does the AI see that and go, okay, in the future, I know that if this happens, this happens. Is that what you're kind of saying here?
Actually, yes. So it learns from errors. Actually, it has something that is called the cost function. That is, you tell it what is right and what is wrong, and then it starts to adjust its inner. It's called weights. The inner calculations to try and reduce the cost, to try to reduce the errors. And if you give it a good, definition of what error is, then the mathematical model or the system will gradually get to a better and better result. That's the essence, and you can retrain. So you got to something, it works, but then you have a new data set, you can retrain, and then it will improve.
So I guess the elephant in the room, the big question is, how does this match up then against numerical models like the classic, the old school models and the AI models? Have you seen it being better? Because I have seen some of them are kind of getting pretty good at like tropical weather forecasting. There's some evidence there. What have you seen from the role of WMO? Has the new models, these AI models, made a difference in how we forecast, and is it more accurate?
So yes, so this is of course one of the things what we are trying to do, and as I said, we is not a group here in Geneva, but a group of meteorological experts around the world that are sitting and trying to understand that. And what would the current understanding is, those models are capable of getting very good results, sometimes better than what we had before.